Judging by these poll results, it seems like it's a tough competition between what persons, want me to talk about for video number 700. Hmm. Is this thing on? Is this thing on? Okay. Yes, it's on. It's on. It's on. Okay, welcome everyone, Sanjae Uchiha, welcome back to the channel, and of course, as you can already tell, video number 700, 700 videos. It's crazy when I think about it, but it is what it is. The grind continues. Welcome back to the channel, and as you can tell, we're tackling a very interesting topic for the 700th video on this channel. Even though I'm kind of curious if persons really read the poll because with all the persons that actually voted, no one actually left a comment in terms of their video ideas that they wanted to hear me talk about. So I'm a bit skeptical in terms of if persons really read everything I wrote for the poll description. But it is what it is. Everybody, well, most persons voted for a Boruto video, and here we are. But let's put a little twist on it. What if Madara Uchiha survived and lived into the Boruto era? How would that affect the story? What could we expect? And just how would Madara's character just fit in overall? And just, what you'd come to expect from a what if. I think I did do a what if before, but I don't even remember how well it did. So I guess trying my hand at it again. But of course, if you're new here, be sure to hit that subscribe button, that like button, share this video out, and let's have a discussion in terms of what our quote-unquote favorite Uchiha would be like in the Boruto era. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, so with any good what if, of course we have to establish a point or a change in the original story in terms of how our what if can actually take place. Now, we know within the confines of the original Naruto manga or Naruto anime, Madara essentially died when Naruto and Sasuke performed the 6-pass Jibaku Tensei on Kaguya Otsutsuki, essentially ripping or at least splitting the tail beast chakra, the 10-tails chakra or Kaguya's chakra back into the 9-tail beast, as well as removing the Gedo Mazo from Madara's body, essentially leaving Madara a Jinchuriki extraction victim, causing him to die and experience his last few moments with his longtime friend and rival Hashirama Senju. So to actually make this what if occur, we're going to change how the 6-pass Jibaku Tensei works by allowing the tail beast to still be extracted and split into, all 9 be extracted, but we're gonna leave the Gedo Mazo within Madara's body because of course we know from the story that is one of the ways that a Jinchuriki can actually survive extraction, especially specifically the 10-tails Jinchuriki, so we'll go with that. But of course, heading from that point, the fight between Naruto and Sasuke would still occur, with Madara not being able to contribute much, if anything at all, because he'll still be paralyzed from the extraction, and it'll be months before he actually can even move again. But of course, with the end of the fight between Naruto and Sasuke, that leaves the question of what does the leaders, the current politicians, the administration of the ninja world do with Madara. Even though a lot of the atrocities were committed by Obito Uchiha, Madara is still essentially the leader of the enemy the enemy camp. So of course one of the options on the table is to kill Madara, but if we're talking about this era of quote-unquote peace that Naruto is going to be pushing, I actually see them pushing Madara to be locked up instead, especially if we're going to say, Naruto is going to probably, I know he vouched for Sasuke, and it's less like he's going to vouch for Madara, but if we're going to look upon it from the headcanon standpoint that Madara was instrumental in highlighting some of the issues with the ninja world in a sense, probably they'll lock him up like a life sentence instead of killing him outright. But I actually still see Naruto pushing for something like that. Now, of course, that leaves the matter of Sasuke. I actually see them being cellmates for the little time that Sasuke is going to be locked up until he gets released to go on his mission to travel the world, redemption, all that jazz. So that leaves Madara in jail for 2 years, which takes us to the era of the last. Now, of course, when Toneri or when the meteors start falling within the confines of the last Naruto movie, Sasuke did come back to the village to, help defend it. But I feel at some point, probably Kakashi, before even Sasuke comes, he might consider bringing in Madara to actually fend off the meteor shower. Of course, the only persons that are really stronger than Madara at this point are Naruto and Sasuke. So if anything goes wrong, Naruto and Sasuke can still take him out with ease, given how things are power scaled from the fourth grade ninja war till now, and the fact that Madara doesn't have the 10 tails in its entirety anymore, to say the least. So I actually see Madara helping out with the meteors, despite the fact that we have Sasuke and the 8 gate formation squad that was led by Lee. So there's that. But it's at this point that I actually feel that Madara they'll start on a path of, I wouldn't say redemption, but the important thing with like a what if like this is that it's important that Madara goes through another change arc. Like, he needs to take everything that he's learned from the fourth grade ninja war, everything leading up to his experiences now, and do a little introspection, a little reflection on his life, and probably start taking what Hashirama said to him in terms of leaving things to the next generation. Don't be too hasty with your plans. And that might in fact tie into the whole idea that Madara hated having somebody behind him, so that even could lead to Madara potentially having a family of his own or taking on an apprentice, and they could actually form an arc around that going into the Boruto era, I feel. So that's one way to look at it. Now, going forward even further, at this point I feel like Madara would start to slowly change, probably not drastically. He'd still probably hang on to some of his ideology, because we know at this point in the story, or even into the Boruto era, some of the ideals that Naruto was trying to push, the world isn't 100% at peace. So there would be still room for Madara's ideology, but not to the extreme that it was before, because of course nobody's going to make that drastic change, so we gotta make it a bit more realistic. But I think is at this point we'll see a mirror between Madara and Sasuke, with Madara traveling the world, or maybe even going into exile. That seems even more like it, but I'm gonna lean more towards traveling the world, not along with Sasuke, two separate journeys, but I actually see that happening. Now, it's at this point Madara would actually travel the world and actually take, similar to how Sasuke would take his experience with Naruto to heart and see if it could be reflected in other nations, between other people. I feel Madara would take what Hashirama last said to him to heart and actually travel around the world and kind of see what it's like to leave things to the other generation, and how that in the long term can contribute to peace. Because Madara at this point is a person that he's interacted with persons from multiple generations, but Madara wasn't really a people person, so I think it would be interesting to see that play out. Now, going forward, like after years and upon years, I think we do come on to the Boruto era, where Madara would probably have a slightly different mindset, and to say the least. And I think is at this point we'll see him come back to Konoha after a long either exile or journey, and take up the responsibility for defending the leaf alongside. He'll be like the associate Shadow Kage for the most part. I'm not saying he's gonna be like buddy with like a lot of persons, but I think he's going to be like at one side of the village, or something along those lines, to protect it from the shadows, similar to Sasuke. And I think much of that would be derived from him potentially bumping up into Sasuke from his personal journeys, and probably collaborating with Sasuke on some missions here and there. But because more than likely a lot of the higher ups would probably have Sasuke keep an eye on Madara. Despite how powerful Madara is, he's still not stronger than Sasuke and Naruto. So I feel we'll see a lot of Madara and Sasuke callouts. It should be very interesting, to say the least, and probably Madara learning more so about the truth to the whole Kaguya Hagoromo history and what happened with Sasuke and Naruto's power-ups. So there's that, which takes us into the Boruto era essentially. Now, of course, when it comes on to the Boruto era, we have this new generation. We have a new generation of Uchiha, which is just Sarada. So there's that. But it's at this point I feel, whether it be from his journey or from the new generation, or just helping out with the new generation of Uchiha, we might even see Madara take up Sarada as a pupil, which would be very interesting. Similar, I would imagine, take on a Jiraiya role to Sarada, similar to how I would say Sasuke is Boruto's Jiraiya. So that would be an interesting dynamic if you ask me. So there's that. But of course, I'm not going to necessarily go through every single madness that took place in the anime. Probably just the main manga points, which of course we know starts off with the Boruto Naruto the movie era. So there's that. But I wasn't planning to like split this into like multiple parts, but I don't want this one video to be too long. But let me know if you guys would actually be interested in like hear me talk more about how Madara would, you know, fit in going forward with the Boruto manga storyline, and how it actually, you know, contribute. Just let me know your thoughts about how I've kind of structured this so far. But I think I might be onto something. Hopefully, depending on how well this first part does, I'll do a part 2. Maybe if I get to 50 to 100 likes. So let me know what you think. Probably in the next part I'll definitely cover the whole Boruto Naruto the movie timeline, and of course I will talk about, you know, Madara's own gains in terms of his improvements in strength and what he could do to go about getting much stronger. So yeah, but anyway, Sanjae Uchiha. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for tuning in for 700 videos. It's been insane. But thanks for the support. Sure to rate, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think about my initial setup for what if Madara survived. And let me know if you want a part 2. Because it depends. I'm not good at these what ifs. But let's see how this video does. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video.